Hey, Jimbo, you ready for this deal?
Fire in the hole.
Old stories like long lost friends, rodeos and late night bends, history before our time, round pens and pasture rides, cowboys of the Osage.
Howdy, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Cowboys of the Osage podcast, brought to you by the Ben Johnson Cowboy Museum and the Buck and Flamingo Turquoise Shop, both located in historic downtown Pawhuska, Oklahoma. Hey, it's old Cody here, and as always, I have my main man with me, Mr. Rodeo Historian, Mr. Songwriter. Don't forget to get one of the CDs that Jimbo has 2 songs on. We sell them right here in the store. One of the only places you can even buy CDs in the whole United States anymore. Jimbo Snively. Good morning, Jimbo. Good to see you. Who do we have today?
Hey, Cody boy, it's another great day in Osage, and that's the world famous Buck and Flamingo too.
Oh, thanks, Jimbo.
Yeah,
Hey, whenever Leslie's mad at you, you know where to go.
I know it. I try to keep her out of that store. Golly, got some nice stuff. But anyway, Cody, we got a real special guest tonight. We got Miss Ann Herman, and Ann grew up in New York, of all places, but she had a love for horses, and she got into horses, and she's been a trick rider, a bronc rider. She's won the barrel racing at Madison Square Garden as a young girl. She's a member of the AQHA Hall of Fame. Her and her husband founded the East Coast Cutting Horse Association and the East Coast Quarter Horse Association. Just really had such a long, productive life in the horse business. And she's got all kinds of stories. We also got our old buddy, Boop Williams, sitting in with us. You know, Boop's been a team roper and cowboy around here forever, seems like. He's Ralphie's younger brother. And
He's been calling me all the time about old Ann here.
Yeah.
Trying to get her up.
Yeah, you bet. Well, we're just happy to have them both tonight. And Ann, welcome to the Cowboys of the Osage podcast.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, we're happy to have you. Boop, we're happy to have you too.
Good. You're hard up, ain't you?
Yeah, I guess.
Thanks for getting him up here safe, Boo.
Right.
He's the delivery man.
Right.
And he's adding a little color tonight, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah, we better.
As only a Williams can.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Where'd you grow up at, Ann?
On Long Island, Astoria,
Yeah.
Queens.
What in the world did a girl growing up there in Long Island, how'd she get interested in horses?
I think I just had the disease.
Yeah.
Well, back then they had milk being delivered and horses were pulling the wagons, and that's how old I am.
Yeah.
But just always had a love for animals.
Right. So you'd watch the horses pulling the milk trucks, and you just kind of, you said, well, I like those big animals.
Right. And then I got to hang out with Buffalo Bill of the East.
Yeah, who was that?
Bill Egger was his name. He was in West Hampton, Long Island.
Right.
And he was quite a character.
How'd you meet him?
I don't know. I forget. Probably his home was across from the church.
Right.
And on Sunday, you know, I would be with my aunt and uncle that go to church. And I was only maybe 6, 7 years old.
Right.
And I found my way to his place when nobody was looking.
Right.
You know,
And he let you be around the horses? And
yeah, he had an old gelding that he had got from the, I'm sorry, circus.
Right.
Barnum.
Right.
And he pulled the buckboard, and we'd go all over town, and I guess my one uncle was pretty well known and wealthy, and from England, and he was trying to get my aunt to stop me from riding around town with old Buffalo Bill of the East.
They didn't think that was proper for you to be doing that.
Right.
That's funny.
We were friends a long time. He was a great old man. Yeah, he had the boots with the trim on the sides and,
Right.
not leather, moccasin type deal, long hair and, a hat pulled down on
Right.
him. He was and he had time for me. He was a nice old man. I'd help him all day long, and then he'd let me ride. Comanche was an Indian pony. He was 32 years old, and that was my pay. I'd get to ride around the corn patch once.
Yeah.
Once. Is that all he had to go around it?
Yeah, just once.
Did you ever go to Madison Square Garden as a girl before you were performing there or anything? Just to watch the rodeo?
I hadn't been to the rodeo there. I had been to the circus,
I see.
years ago. But no, it was a big deal. I was a kid. I was just, put me on what you want me to ride and tell me what to do.
Right.
And we had 72 girls for the tryouts for the barrel race. And I had the best time on a mare. I believe that was the first time I got on the mare. I don't remember ever. She was an old retired race mare. And her time was 15:09 on the regulation course.
Right.
It wasn't shortened.
Right. Wow.
And won it, and
Yeah.
stayed and rode in the rodeo for, I think it was 3 weeks. It was 2.
Yeah, it lasted a long time.
Yeah, it did, and Dale Evans and Roy Rogers was there, and Gabby Hayes,
Yeah.
and it was neat.
Do you remember any of the cowboys that were there?
I remember Casey Tibbs because he used to shoot that water pistol in my face.
Oh, yeah. He was a character, wasn't he?
Tell us about him shooting that water pistol in your face. What were you doing when he would shoot your water?
Well, it was the grand entry, the circling back and forth, and the girls would end up being, stationary in one turnaround, and then they'd come around, and that's when he'd shoot the water pistol.
The girls, was that a queen contest deal?
There was a queen contest involved in it too, So I was in the queen contest.
How did that play out?
Well, the first time, this was a couple of years before that, and I had I'm getting gun shy. It was my turn, and to do, and we had to draw. That time I wasn't trick riding, but we drew the trick riders, horses plus other horses, to give a performance on equitation, and I happened to draw a trick rider's horse, and the horse ran off with me. And then we had to get off and step up a couple of steps, and circle and then come down off the pedestal. And the tears were coming down my face. I was scared to death, and I didn't like the predicament I was in. And old Gabby Hayes, he was so nice. He came over and put his arm around me, and but that was that.
What do you remember about Roy Rogers and Dale Evans?
They're really nice
Yeah.
people. They didn't stay around much, though. They'd just be hit and run,
Right.
more or less, for the performance. And then the Lone Ranger
Yeah,
and Tano came in,
yeah.
and they didn't talk to each other.
What year would this have been, Ann?
56.
56.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, Ann is 90 years young. I know it's hard to believe, but
I'm 90 years young.
yeah. But
Thank you.
well, I didn't believe it when I saw you, so I just wanted to tell people that.
I know. She gets around so good, I expect her to
I
jump
know.
up and click her
Why,
heels together.
She walked in here better than I did.
So Tano and the Lone Ranger, they didn't talk to each
No,
other?
they didn't talk. And the Lone Ranger would come in, and he'd look like a college professor. I mean, with his jacket on and his horn rim glasses, and he was bald.
I don't have nothing against that. Do you, Cody?
And the trainer of Silver and Tano's horse.
What was Tano's horse's name? I can't
Yeah,
remember.
I can't
The
think
paint
of it.
horse. What?
The historian put me on the spot. Yeah, Jimbo.
You do me that well.
You know everything. What was his horse's name?
I'm sure some of our listeners will know.
Yeah, somebody will know.
Yeah, right.
Comment so we know in
Right,
the comment
right.
section.
And they were, the trainer wanted to shoot the two of them because they messed the horses up all the time. He'd be training the horses all morning, out in the pen, and have them all, relaxed and working nice, and it was a mess when.
Right.
But
They kept the horses down underneath, didn't they?
yeah. There was big cattle pens down underneath, and the wild horses were supposedly wild.
Yeah.
But I was down there one before performance and that, and two, I don't know if they were bulls or steers. Great big.
Yeah.
It was me and another girl were down there in the aisles, and I don't know if they were after us or not, but we
You got out of the way anyway.
they were going the same direction.
Right.
And we ran into the hallway, and they followed us into the hallway, and there was stairs, metal stairs, and luckily they didn't come up the stairs after us. But it was a kind of a spooky deal.
Right. Do you remember the crowds? Did they have big crowds?
Yeah. We, it was, and there was I bought one of the wild horses that from New York, they would be going on to the last show. I think it was in Massachusetts. I'm not sure. I forget now. But I heard that the horses would then go to the killers, the wild horses. And I kind of picked myself out a sorrel mare, and started. It was deep sawdust for footing in the aisles, and in wide aisles, and I got her out in the aisle, and there was a black cowboy. I don't know what his name was, but he was a nice man, and he'd be there every day watching me. I think he was waiting for the wreck to come on, But anyway, I ended up selling her after a year or so, after I had her started and that, and fell on and made a trick horse out of her, went all over giving little shows. And
Where did you learn your trick riding from?
there was a lady I can't think of her name now. She came from the Bronx, and she trick rode, and she was in the garden, and I got to hang out a lot, where she was, and I mean, I don't mean at the show. I mean, away from the show, and found eavesdropped on the how to trick ride, and I had an old stud that all he had on his mind was run away, and I tied my feet up in the latigos that come down, off the swells, and I'm out there in a field doing a liberty stand on him, by myself. It's a wonder I didn't get killed.
Yeah, it's probably dangerous.
Yeah. And I couldn't get him stopped, and the chain
Broke.
and I finally had to run him into the building, but I had my knees up, I'm up, chalked up on him. I couldn't get my feet out of the latigos. It was wild. It was really a wonder I lived, honestly.
Right. It's a wonder you made 90, isn't it?
I'm not made 90 yet. I'm getting there, though.
Oh, yeah, okay.
88.
88, okay. I thought you were 90.
Don't make me old.
Okay, well, I'm sorry.
And I want you to make me old now,
No,
Just 88.
just 88.
That's a lot of difference.
Yeah.
Hey, she's talking about that one horse that was 32 years old a while ago. How old did that old mule of you guys live to, Boop?
Man, according to the vet records, I calculated at 44 years old.
Ain't that something?
That is.
You could trick ride on him if you're kind of smart about it.
You mentioned Everett Colburn a while ago.
Yeah.
What did you say? He wanted you to come back to Texas?
He had a niece that they were schooling at the time to jump a convertible car, Roman riding, and with 2 or possibly 3 horses. And the niece, after all, she backed out, And it hadn't been done since 1926. So he offered to me if I wanted to come back to the ranch with them, and I was gung-ho. I was going to do that. Thank God I didn't go. But I got pneumonia, and my mother was so happy I got pneumonia, because and then it just fizzled out and nothing came of it. But yeah.
For those that don't know, Everett Colburn produced the rodeos back there for years. I think he was partners with Gene Autry. Was Gene Autry not back there then?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Right.
No. It was. I didn't know how much fun I was having at the time, Right. And there were so many good people took me under their wing, I just, because my mom couldn't afford for me to have a horse,
Right.
so I had lots of them.
Yeah. When did you meet your husband?
It was a second marriage, and we had run into each other over the years, back and forth, and we were both asked to judge for the Appaloosa Queen of New Jersey, and back then they were real tough, and it was a big, it was a big to-do. So it went 3 days. First was horsemanship, and that was done at a college there, I forget which one. And then the next weekend was riding, and and then the third week, the next weekend was poison personality, and then the third weekend was Oh, big. They had a big dinner and dance, and the crowning. It was a big deal, and that's we got to kind of talk, and and just at an earlier time, a few years before that, I had been on at a show, a quarter horse show upstate New York, and Harry was there, and I was on a reining horse, and there was snow on the ground, and I went with, not realizing there was ice underneath it, and he and a couple of fellas came pick me up. But he was quite a guy. He was, AQHA judge for many years, and good guy.
Yeah.
He's gone 37 years.
Wow.
Yeah, the 21st of August.
Well, how did you wind up in Oklahoma?
We decided to get married, and moved to Oklahoma, and it was a good decision. Harry he and Morgan Freeman were good friends, and Harry just, in his heart, he wanted to come to Oklahoma. But at that time, then I was training Arabs, and I had a good business, and I just, a good horse is a good horse. I don't care what he is, and we just decided to make the move. He had the leather shop. We packed that up in the U-Haul and packed a couple of horses in an inline trailer. And he drove the U-Haul, and I drove the truck and trailer, and we made it. Got off at Claremore and went up that big hill. What was
Keatonville Hill.
Keatonville Hill. They've done away with it. It's nice though.
Yeah.
But anyway, it was we just fell into it. It just all went together. So I ain't talking too much.
No.
That's what you're here for.
Oh, okay.
So, what was your first good horse
My first,
that wins some stuff?
what really helped me so much was Scoot's Delight. She had come off Hank Wieskamp's in Arama, and when we came out here, and when Morgan was with us, and we went to they had a sale, there was a doctor dispersal sale, and she was a young mare and was in it, and Harry found her in the horse area, and I went and looked at her, and I said, "Oh yeah, she's nice." No, we went back and sat down, and and then here comes this mare that was, she had a head like an Arab, and pretty as a picture, and it was the horse he was showing me in the back, and so we started bidding on her, and they bid her up to about $2,000. And Harry says, "That's enough now," So I'm sitting next to Morgan. I poke Morgan, and I said, "Morgan, keep bidding on her." So anyhow, she went up to, I think, 2,800. And it was raining that night. And we put her had to get a trailer, and hold her. And we didn't even have a barn or any place to put her, so we put her in Morgan's place in Skiatook. And as the mare was coming off the trailer, and here it is raining and raining, and we're underneath a light, and he's looking at, and he had a good eye for a horse, Harry, and he's looking at this mare as she's coming off the trail. He said, "Boy, I wish I owned her." And I said, "You do." And she went on, and I think she helped me a lot in the quarter horse deal. Jerry Wells wanted her in the worst way for Betty, but she was a bugger to start. It took a long, long time. I mean, she broke the cinch on the saddle one time, and it took probably a year, really, to get her where she was trustworthy. But she went on and made 3 times superior mare, was second in halter in the Congress, and actually she was first in halter. The judge had pulled her out first, and Kenneth Gallion, Harry felt he was too tall to lead her, and he didn't, and I wasn't going to lead her, nobody knew me. And so Kenneth agreed. Old Kenneth, he's getting, if I get there today, it's fine. If I get there tomorrow, it's okay too. As he's heading out to get in, and the judge had called him out first, and I forget who was second, but it was big, it was tough. She ended up second in the Congress in halter anyway, and then we had a stud, Impressive Breeze, and bred. We sold babies they went all over the country. They were beautiful. They were tough, I mean, you had to be friends if you were going to ride her. But,
What was harder to work with, Arabians or quarter horses? Was there a big difference?
no, they're individuals, Yeah, Arabs can be a little more skittish, I usually drove them all as 2-year-olds and then rode them as 3-year-olds.
Explain what driving them is.
Well, I would ground drive them, and teach them. And voice commands a lot helped me a bunch, And then I'd hook them to a cart. And I had one experience of one running away with me in the cart, with the cart.
Just one?
One that stands out.
Pretty good. Most times she had them ready for them voice commands before she
Right.
Pretty good.
Yeah, I should have said ho.
Yeah.
But anyway, luckily I got him stopped just before a real bad road, and anyway, that's that, I guess.
How many times you been bucked off?
You want to know how many times I stayed on? That's easier to remember.
Right.
No, I rode some broncs out of the bareback horses.
Right.
And I'm left-handed and didn't realize I was in trouble the first time out. The pickup fella, Bob Silvers, did you know Bob?
No.
But he came up on the left side of me, being left-handed. I left, and they normally come up on the right side to pick up off, that over.
Right.
And it just, I had rode him the full time, and then he let loose, and I'm not holding on to it. I had nothing. I just went right over his head.
Where were you riding the broncs at?
On Long Island.
Holy moly. Was it a rodeo or a Wild West show?
It was a town. I worked in it for a couple of years. In Patchogue, Long Island. Dodge City.
It was a made-up West town. Is that right?
Yeah.
So it was a Wild West show deal?
Yeah, they had a rodeo, every when it was open, and they had little stores and a couple of little. It was nice. They had a post office, and that was where the the stud ran away with me Roman riding, and I was way down in the bushes, you know, and it was everything was over there, and God was watching over me that day. But I met a lot of good people along the way. The horse people were the best, really. You know, being a kid and not having a horse, and people made it possible for me. So.
What about that circus you went to? What do you remember about that one?
Which
At
is
Madison Square Garden.
That big circus.
that I went as a, you know, to watch it. I wasn't doing anything in it.
Was it big back then?
Yeah, it was big, and they had, you know, what I really remember. I was only a little kid, but they had 2 big gorillas in a tremendous cage on wheels. Looked like something that would be on the railroad track, you know. So.
Probably takes a pretty good cage to hold a gorilla, I would think.
I would think so. Has to be a.
I wouldn't want to
A
be the one that had to pin
tremendous
him.
No. Well,
Did you judge much quarter horse shows?
I had cards in about 5 associations, you know, so not much in the quarter, no. But in the other, in paint and buckskin and, you know, judged some world shows. So Harry was the quarter horse judge, really.
what kind of competitions were you judging? Was it halter or
Everything.
everything?
Yeah, all day long.
Yeah.
You know, it was, you know, they go from halter to performance.
Did you have to go to school to do that, or did you just pick it up?
Yeah, no, you had to have quite a few recommendations and attend clinics, you know, and have good people behind you, more or less, to say that you wouldn't rob the bank or do anything bad.
Did you ever face any discrimination because you were a girl judging? And
No, I didn't. In fact, I got to judge with a lot of Harry's old friends.
right,
You know, because Harry had multiple cards too.
right.
And no, I never. I got in trouble one time when I first got my card. I forget what it was. What I was. I don't know. It may have been paint, probably paint.
Right.
And it's when they had the horses were moving terrible. The lope was a 4-beat, and not a nice 3-beat lope. And this one gentleman, he was quite a wealthy man, and some people had found this horse for him, and it was broke down. I mean, it was terrible. And he had paid a lot of money for the horse, and here he comes. And it was in Topeka, Kansas, and it was a world championship show, now that I think of it. And I excused him, you know, and I didn't want that to be an example of what we're looking for. You know, the horse's ears were back, his eyes were dull. He was 4-beaten out of lope. And I mean, this man, the poor fella, he had bought this horse thinking he was going to be world champion, you know, and there was no way. So that was, I don't remember ever being in trouble before that, you know,
Yeah.
or getting on the bad side of somebody.
Yeah. I just thought somebody might think since you're a woman judging, they might get mad at you, or thinking that you didn't know what you were doing or something.
No, look, I guess they kept them away from me. I don't
Yeah,
know. But,
yeah.
but I didn't get in any trouble,
Right.
I like a good horse,
Sure.
and I don't. I want to see him treated right, you know.
Oh, for sure.
And I just wouldn't use that type, you know.
Right.
The poor bugger, he was all done.
Right.
You know.
Right.
What kind of conformation do you look for in a horse?
I think a horse is supposed to ride, you know, and supposed to be useful. And I want to, like Dr. Beeman said, form to function. That's what I want, you know, put together right and balanced. And Dr. Beeman said it all with the form to function, you know.
So you traveled all over the country to these shows, I guess.
Yeah, I did. I did it for about 20 years.
Wow.
It seems, you know, went by awful. My whole life has gone by awful fast.
Yeah, it will.
Zap, it's gone.
What was that story about? Had somebody sleeping in the inline?
Yeah. What about Harry and Uncle John going to
Uncle John.
Mexico
Yeah.
horse shopping?
Talking about John Israel.
Yeah, Harry and John Israel were good buddies, really. And they were always wandering around somewhere looking for horses, you know, back in the bushes. And they were down around the Mexican border, I believe, and pulling an inline trailer. And John got tired. So Harry said, well, you know, go lay down in the back of the truck. And he was going to go in the trailer. So there was a saddle compartment underneath the manger. And John crawls in there, you know, and stretches out. And off they go. And Harry drove quite a ways and then needed gas, and he pulled in the gas station to get gas. And that was when you always had an attendant fill in the gas for you. Well, the attendant is there, and Harry wanted to check on John, so he opens up the saddle compartment door, and John's feet just plop out. And the fella in the gas station thought he was dead, and he was hauling him to get rid of him.
Right.
So there was many a story, you know, that went on with them.
Sound like they were quite a pair.
They were. Showdown Mitzi was with. He wanted Mitzi at first, and he had Mitzi for a little while, and Harry was like 6'4", 2.
He was tall.
Yeah, he was tall, and Mitzi would get down and sweep, you know, and Harry's feet would end up in the dirt, so they swapped, and what Harry told me is he had a horse tough to take, so he suited. John had a horse tough to take, I guess, and that suited Harry better than Showdown Mitzi, you know, being he was so tall, so leggy. It was hard. It was hard on her and hard on him. So, yeah, that was.
Are you and Harry both in the Hall of Fame? The quarter horse?
No, Harry would have made it way before me.
I see.
You know, Harry, he was a lot more Hall of Famer than me.
Right.
You know,
Right.
he was quite a horseman. He had quite an eye for a horse, and
Right. Sounds like it.
he knew so many. Wherever we went, I mean, it was like, you know, he was running for mayor or something. I
Yeah.
don't know. It was all like going through the, you know, square dancing and going through the, what do they call that? I'm sorry. Promenade.
Yeah,
Promenade.
promenade. Where
Yeah.
you're switching.
Right. Right.
Yeah, that'd be Harry going through a
Right.
crowd.
He should have been a politician too.
He was about a politician. I'd say it was a lot of times we get to the show, you know, and you'd show off the trailer years ago. You didn't put up in stalls and stay, you know, and I'd been doing all the work,
Right.
and Harry he was going to go make the entries, and I'll never forget down in Tulsa the one year, and he didn't come back, you know, and I was ready to. So I go into the old, where we used to show in Tulsa in the fairgrounds, the old arena, and there he is leaning against the wall with a crowd, you know, bunch of people, you know, and he's just entertaining.
Right.
And here I am, down to the last minute, you know, trying to handle 2-3 horses and have them ready to go on, you know. And I was a little bit angry. It didn't do much good, though. It didn't change Harry.
No, it usually doesn't on men.
So both of them horses that they traded went on to win a lot, didn't they?
Yeah.
That they traded.
Yeah. Showdown Mitzi and Uncle
and the-
John, he
Yeah, they both went on, didn't they?
Oh,
Harry's
yeah.
did good too.
Oh, yeah. Harry's, in fact, I've got a picture of him on the wall and what he won under. They won quite. They were both, you know, they had a good eye for a horse, both of them.
Speaking of that picture on the wall, her house looks like a museum of quarter horses and show horses and all the stuff that she's won. It's just full of it.
I bet.
Well, thank you, Boop. I don't know. I often think of myself, really, you know, with all the trophies and that, and we gave a lot of the away to the youth, you know, so they could use in the 4-H shows and that. And then the owners, the clients, you know, naturally they'd get their horses trailers, trophies. So you know, over the years, it's amazing how many trophies we accumulated. Actually, I was only talking to Pam and thinking, what could I do with the quarter horse trophies? Because they're beautiful trophies.
I tell you how to know how many you got is if you have to dust them.
Yes, that's very true.
How have horses changed over the years? Are they any different now than they were back in '56?
No, I see what they're doing. The legs and that are not as doing as well. I mean, because it's the way that it's the judge's responsibility. It's the judges who set the style, and you know, you get someone being used, and everybody tries to get their horse to go that way. I feel sorry for the horses. I really do. I don't. And as far as the breeding, changing them, yeah, they're post hoc, they're little bitty feet, you know, and more muscle than you'd want to see on an elephant. You know, it's just, and balance, and, you know, it's all gone. Just pump them, and it's, I like to see more conscientious horsemen. You know, I feel sorry for the horse, I do. I want to see a horse coming down the rail, his ears up, his eyes bright, looks like he's had 3 meals, you know, that he's been fed, and that it's, you know, it's not that they're abused and forced into it. And people are doing it, pinch front ends, and, you know, the legs and the feet are so important. And the welfare of the animal is more important than the ribbon.
Sure.
Yeah, you said their feet are small. Morgan told me one time a horse ain't any good if he don't have good feet under him.
Right, that's
He's got to be able to stand on them.
yeah, and the way they're trimming them, the angles, you know, and they're stressing where they shouldn't be stressed, and you can't. It takes years to put it all together, and it's very hard to help somebody. I mean, you'll get in trouble if you try. I taught at Rogers State, I guess, for, I don't know, a few years in horsemanship, and after the first couple of months, you know, the people would turn around and understand, you know, where I was coming from, and use it to the good and to get along with a horse, and, you know, like a child, you know. Don't get me started, I guess, huh?
Oh, we want to learn it from you.
Yeah, the horse will teach you. That's what it'll listen to him, and, you know, and I know, you know, you guys are horsemen. We need to help the horse as much as possible. You know, you got to come at it from the horse's side of it. You know, they give them the benefit of the doubt. And that's how I got along for many years. I mean, you know, it's like you do it and do it and do it, and then all of a sudden the horses say, oh, that's what you want. You know, it's just they can't read the book.
Mm-hmm, right.
They can't, you know, they have no background knowledge of what you're wanting of them.
Sure.
So I just like to see people care a little. And there are good horses. I mean, I don't mean it, you know, but the others kind of stand out.
Right.
So,
Was there a difference in mares and geldings as far as easy to work with or smarter? Or?
I think it's like people. They're all individuals. You know, you just come at it from their side of it. And I don't find a difference in mares and geldings. You know, sometimes you get a squirrely kind of mare, but, you know, such is life.
Yeah.
Just,
I've seen some squirrely women.
yeah, I was going to say that, but I would.
I'm married to a squirrely one, Jimbo.
No comment.
Right. You better not.
Sit right there. Holy moly.
You have some horses now?
Oh, I've got. I quit you know, taking training horses more or less about a year ago. Excuse me. And I've got Dr. The Marina Animal Clinic. They're old stud. I still have him, and I've got 3 mares left from the old mare. The old mare's gone many years, and they've been good to me. So I got to outlive them.
Okay.
Gotta
We're
take
going
care
to
of
hold
them,
you
don't
to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be good.
When's the last time you got on a bucking horse?
Oh,
Or just one that bucked around the house?
that bucked around not, well, yeah, you're making me,
2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
no, I was fooling with them up till about a year ago. But I had some bad wrecks over the years, you know. If they do an autopsy when I die, they're going to say I was an abused woman, you know. In fact, the marks I don't know if you can see the marks, that's from 20 years ago. And, you know, it's part of it. And I'd do it all again. I'm so thankful to God that I've had horses in my life, that he sent me them for comfort and friends and, you know.
Right. And for a little girl born in Long Island, you know,
Yeah.
to wind up in
Down
the
here
horse
in-
world like you are, well,
Wind
that's
up
pretty
down here
amazing.
in God's country.
Yeah, in God's country, and being such an influence in the horse world, that's kind of an amazing story right there by itself.
It's amazing to me. I don't know that, you know, anybody knows me.
Oh, yeah.
She's a true horsewoman, Jimbo. She's rode 32-year-old Indian ponies as a little girl, real Indian ponies.
Right.
Appaloosas,
Bronx,
Arabians, Bronx, won the
barrel race.
at Madison Square Garden.
She trained warm bloods also.
Really?
Every kind of breed you can think of. She's just a true horse lover and a true horse woman. I mean, to go through that many different kinds of horses, and she just must know a horse, you know, Jimbo.
Oh, yeah.
She's a horse whisperer.
Probably.
I think so.
I'd say so.
Well, thank you, Cody. That's very nice of you.
I think she might be. I think I finally met one.
Right.
I've heard about them,
Yeah.
but I think I met one tonight, Jimbo.
I think we did too.
I didn't realize how much fun I was having.
She'd be a good one to take with you to look for a new horse.
Yeah, for sure. If I was going to look at one, I'd take her with me.
Right.
Ask her
Harry-
what's wrong with him.
Harry was the one. You know, Harry was the one with the eye, really. He could look at something that you wouldn't give 2 cents for, and give it 2 years old, and it was it was great.
Yeah.
Turned out wonderful.
How much was that? How much did you turn down for the old $2,800 mare that did so good for y'all? I'm gonna say I read something like $85,000 y'all turned down.
No, 65,000 we did.
Just
Sounds like she had a pretty good eye on one right there.
And we needed the money.
Yeah.
And Harry looked at me, Mrs. Rounds, who had Mr. Impressive. I forget Rounds. She over in Wichita, near Wichita, but she offered us a bunch of money for the mayor, you know, and we needed it, you know, we really needed it. And he looks at me and I says, I can't sell, Mama. You know? Then we had another good mare, Bonanza's Pacific, out of a by Pacific Bailey, and she was another one, you know, squirrely. I mean, just, and she turned out. That's the one that Jerry Wells really wanted from us. We ended up selling her. Harry went to the East Coast to look at Impressive Breeze, the stud that we had, and when he was there, he saw a mare coming across the pen, nobody on her or anything, and he saw her, and he had an eye, you know, for lightness and movements, and he calls me up, go to the bank and see if they'll give you $12,500. This is what they wanted So, yeah,
Sent you to the bank.
sent me out, and I got the money.
Those you on the Bronx and put you and send you to the bank.
And they were saying on the East Coast, of course, Harry had brought so many horses back to the East Coast from Oklahoma, and they were thinking, oh, we really got Harry this time. They thought because this mare had she had been with Jody Gallion and with the whole crew with them, and they said she'd never ride. She was bronky.
But he had Ann.
Huh?
But Harry had Ann.
Yeah.
No, it took quite a while, but we sold it to the president of AQHA, and Harry cried and I cried as we loaded her on the trailer. We sold it for $35,000, and Harry was sick, and we had to, reality. And I forget the trainer they had her with, but we saw them maybe 6 months later, and I called her Barney, and we were at a show, and she had lost 200 pounds. They had a long old shank on the bed of, a real high port, and the saliva was coming down and the look in her eyes just killed me. And and spurs, I'm not against spurs, but know how to use them. And anyway, I got lost. I'm sorry. There was I'm sorry. I went blank.
Just a sad moment seeing her that way, huh?
Yeah, it was more. No, then they finally took her and put her with the brood mares and gave up riding around. They couldn't get her. All you had to do was treat her like a lady. That's all. Ask in a nice way. Don't tell her. Ask her, and she do it. But anyway.
It's hard not to get attached to them in it
Yeah.
a little bit.
Even, yeah. Of course, most of them, there's if somebody jabbed me in the side with a spur, hey,
Yeah.
Might kick a little.
yeah. They see even the barrel races, you see them, they run barrels, they're kicking those poor horses, they're kicking the air out of them, and not giving them a chance to.
Yeah.
So you got me started. I'm sorry.
That's good wisdom there.
Well, shoot. You got anything else for her, Jimbo?
Oh, no, just thank her for coming up and sharing her amazing story with us.
Thank you for putting up with me. I was just sitting here thinking I haven't talked this much in years.
The year she won Madison Square Garden, I think the same year your granddad won the world. 56.
Deer Open, yeah.
56.
Deer
It's a good year. Uh-huh. Yeah, and that was even a better year because that was the year I was born, too. So that was an all-around pretty good year.
Holy moly. We got a lot in common right here. Didn't even know it.
Right.
Well, Ann, thanks for coming in.
Well,
Thank you so much for sharing those great stories with us. Holy moly.
thank you so much for having me and for putting up listening to me.
Buffalo Bill of the East.
Yeah.
Right.
I would have liked to got to know that guy.
I know.
Holy moly.
You would
I think we'd have got along good, me and
Yeah,
him.
he had long hair. And he was something else. Yeah.
You're about the Buffalo Bill of Osage County.
Nope, John Payne's that.
Oh,
No one can take it away from him either. He said, I'm not Buffalo Bill, I'm the Buffalo Bandit, don't you know, the way he told me once. Well, all right, everybody. Be sure and like and share. We're just trying to keep this old history alive right here. And come to the museum. We got a great new gallery here. Some of the best cowboy makers in the world have their stuff here for sale. Probably the only place in the world you can come buy right off the shelf. Pair of Wilson Capron gold inlay spurs, or Troy West saddle, or Pedro Perini.
The Tapaderos.
Tapaderos right there. So
And then you can go to the Buck and Flamingo and buy your wife some jewelry.
that's right. Get some jewelry.
You better.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Thanks, Boop.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thanks for driving everybody up.
Enjoyed it.
All right.
Thank you, Boop, for putting it together. I just thank you. That's
It was our pleasure.
First cowgirl I ever met from Long Island, Jimbo.
I know.
In
Crazy
true blue
stuff.
cowgirl. No doubt about
Right.
it.
More cowgirl than I am ever was a cowboy.
That's right. All right, guys. We'll see y'all next week.
Old stories like long lost friends, rodeos and late night bends, history before our time, round pens and pasture rides, cowboys of the Osage.